Hey there, you're listening to You Still Going On About That with Rob Israel and Joseph K. You can find us anywhere you could download podcasts. You could also find us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at YSGoat. Thanks for listening. I'm Rob Israel.
I'm Joseph K.
And you still going about
that.
All right, Joseph, what are we talking about today?
We're talking about the cabin in the woods.
You mean Last House on the Left, Hills Have Eyes, the Amityville House of Horror.
House on Haunted Hill.
House on Haunted Hill.
Yeah.
House, the horror movie House, and House 2.
Oh, those
House
were
1 starring
amazing.
Norm, and House 2 starring Cliff Clavin.
Yes. Those were great movies.
I liked those when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Okay, we're talking about, I never get this title right.
Right.
It's Cabin in the Woods.
Right. I never had a problem with this title
I don't know
until
why
you brought
I
it
have
up.
a problem with this title. I never could, I love this movie, and I never get the name right.
Yes.
I'm always like...
It is The Cabin in the Woods, and it came out in 2012, and it was directed by Drew Goddard, and written by Drew Goddard and Joss Whedon.
Joss?
Yes. And Joss is actually short for Joseph.
Okay.
Now, Drew Goddard, and you and I talked about him a little bit earlier today. Drew Goddard is this amazing writer. Like almost any project he's ever been involved with, I've really loved.
Yeah.
And he did a movie recently, which I hadn't seen, and you said was just kind of okay-ish.
It was okay. I mean, I'm sure other people might like it. I don't know.
Well, Drew Goddard, let me give you his resume briefly. He worked on, as a writer, Buffy, Angel.
Yeah, well, I like those.
Buffy, Angel, Alias, Lost.
Well, this is a very Joss Whedon-centric movie, even though he
Absolutely.
directed. This came out the same year as Avengers? 2012, right?
That sounds
Yeah,
right.
it did. I think it came out right before the Avengers. I think it might have sat on the shelf for a little bit.
It did. It was delayed.
Yeah, and I think it got released because the Avengers was coming out. Chris Hemsworth was in it.
That makes sense.
And Joss Whedon was directing the Avengers. So.
Listen to what else Drew Goddard has done. He did, Cabin in the Woods. He rewrote the third part of World War Z. He did Daredevil, Defenders, The Martian, and The Good Place. So he's written...
TV show Good Place?
Yes.
Oh, that's a great show.
He wrote the first
Daredevil
episode.
TV show or
Daredevil,
movie?
the TV show.
Okay, because the movie's garbage.
Right. And...
Sorry.
Defenders.
Nuts.
The
That was okay. That wasn't very good.
But still, it was decent. Like, look...
It was okay.
This guy's been involved with a lot of great stuff.
Yeah.
And then Whedon has done, a lot of great stuff, too.
Yep.
I think Goddard and Whedon met while they were working on Angel and Buffy together. And this definitely has a Whedon-esque...
This definitely feels very Whedon-esque.
Yes.
So, this movie, I remember hearing... I knew it was coming out, and they didn't advertise it right.
Right.
It's very hard to advertise this movie without spoiling it.
Yes.
Because it's not what you think it is type of movie. It's like, kids going to a cabin, typical horror movie. There's a lot more to it than that. And you don't really know what's going on. It's like there's something much bigger
Yes.
than just a bunch of kids going to a cabin getting attacked by a zombie. What were they?
The redneck torture zombie family.
Yes.
Yeah.
Much more complex story than that. Much crazier.
Yeah.
Very meta. Plays on
super meta.
horror
Yeah.
tropes. That's why some of it's a little ridiculous. The movie,
yeah.
I mean, we could just talk about it real quick.
Yeah.
So it starts off with the main character Dina. Starts off with the two guys.
Yes. It's the very, very beginning. I think during the credits you see a few scenes of sacrifice. Right?
Yeah.
And then it quickly goes to the two guys in the lab.
Yeah. Richard Jenkins and Bradley Whitford.
Yes.
And you've seen these guys in everything.
When
Bradley Whitford was famous for being in Revenge of the Nerds 2.
Oh, yeah.
He was recasted. They recasted whoever, and he played the guy from the first movie.
If you had asked me, I would have sworn, because I rewatched Cabin in the Woods a couple nights ago, and prior to that, I hadn't seen it in 5 or 6 years. If you had asked me a week ago who those two scientists were, I would have said one of them was Agent Coulson. I was convinced
he's not in the movie at all.
I was convinced
you think
he was
is
in it.
in it. He's not in it
Right.
at all. But a Joss Whedon standby is in Amy Acker.
She's amazing.
She's in like pretty much has shown up. If it's a Joss Whedon project or TV show, she's shown up. Obviously, she was from Angel.
Yep. She played Fred and Illyria.
Yeah.
She was in Alias for a season.
Yeah, but that wasn't Joss Whedon.
No, but that was Drew Goddard.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, well, okay, there you go. She showed up in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. a couple of times.
Yep.
She
She
was
was.
she in recent? Oh, she was in that terrible X-Men show that was on HBO.
Oh, Runaways.
Fox. No, not Runaways. It was literally cool. I forgot. I don't even remember the name of it. It got canceled. It was on. It was like okay. I don't even remember the name.
Oh, you're not talking about the one.
It was a mutant show.
The real
on Fox.
trippy one.
No, not Legion.
Okay.
It was a show on Fox. This was pre-Disney buying Fox.
Oh, you think Fox and Friends? Was
Yeah.
that it?
Oh, yeah. That was it. Oh, Steve Doocy.
They're not mutants. They're just terrible
they're
people.
Ghouls.
Yeah.
Sorry, I got mixed up with ghouls and mutants.
Yes,
No,
yeah.
my apologies
Easy
to
mistake.
No, that's actually a horrible insult to mutants. And I'm sorry, mutants. You guys are, you're being hunted by marauders and hunted by Trask. And now I'm comparing it to ghouls. And I'm really sorry to all of them.
Amy Acker was also in Much Ado About Nothing, which is a Joss Whedon.
We're just going to call him Josh for the rest of the episode.
I think I will.
No.
Well, Amy Acker's like just stunningly beautiful, and she's really funny, and you put her in a movie, and I'm usually
the show was called The Gifted.
Oh, okay, I do remember that. Yes, definitely not Fox with Friends. Fox and Friends.
They're not gifted.
No,
they're legacy.
Yes,
legacy hires.
So she's in it.
Yeah. So it starts off with them, and they're talking about things, and it's vague.
Yeah.
It's like a bet. The joke is that I guess they work for the government or this organization.
Yes.
And the big joke about everything's going on. I guess we'll just spoil the movie.
Sure.
Spoilers. Go watch the movie first. Come back. It's on Amazon Prime right now.
Yes. It's a quick movie. It's
Jeff
great.
Bezos, give us money.
Please do.
Give us free shipping. You fuck. You bald, rich, Lex Luthor, living embodiment of Lex Luthor.
At least free Prime. Come on,
bro. Be a bro.
All right. So, spoil the movie in a couple sentences. It's the whole thing is basically a government initiative or some sort of initiative, and they need to sacrifice 5 archetypical young people to appease the elder gods, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I mean, you just.
Well, you said we were going to spoil it.
I did.
You didn't
Maybe
want to
there was
spoil
a better way to spoil it. I don't know. Like, oh yeah. Well, the fucked up thing is there's these titans, gods, whatever that is, before man.
Right.
And to appease them, so they stay in their underworld, where the fuck they're living, so they don't come. Because if they come out on top of Earth, we're all dead because they're like thousands of feet tall.
Right.
It's like why don't you just throw a girl into a volcano? And someone says that in the movie. Actually, the Stoner guy says that that they want theatrics. They want a story.
Yeah.
The gods demand a tale. They want to be entertained.
Right. Well, he said they used to be able to get by just chucking a
That's it. They say that. They say
volcano.
They used to be able to get away with it, but now.
They got bored.
They got bored, and they expect the story, even though the story is repetitive, but they expect it every time.
Yes.
And there has to be 5 characters, and they all represent. One of them's the fool, the whore, the warrior, the virgin, and the scholar.
Yes. Right.
And when each one of them, and they have to die a specific order. Usually the whore is first.
The whore's got to come first.
The fool is second.
No,
the fool is second because he doesn't die in that scene. That's why there's that huge earthquake.
Yeah.
Because he was supposed to die at that point.
And they got mad. So then the warrior died, and then the scholar died. Right. And then that's when all the shenanigans happened. Then no one died after that. Well, they said that the only rules I really hardcore remember, the whore has to go first.
Yeah, which is a horror movie trope.
Yes.
The joke is... See, the funny thing about this movie, which is so weird, is you get this story where there's these sacrifices. These people aren't aware that it's happening to them. Right. Where they're being thrown into a situation where they're playing out a scenario to amuse these gods. and their sacrifices. But it follows also horror movie tropes that we're familiar with, where if you watch like Friday the 13th or Friday, or them, always like there's a group of friends, and there's always like the slutty girl, and the guy in there having sex. Jason comes in and kills him,
right?
And it's usually the first death.
Yes,
it's somebody.
Yeah, it's your punishment for being promiscuous.
Yeah, how dare you?
Well,
this is Reagan's America.
And as this is going, like, we don't. Maybe we shouldn't have spoiled it immediately like that. But
I mean,
as the scientists are talking about it in the beginning, they're giving you a lot of clues that make perfect sense later, but it's real vague the first time you see the movie.
They're also having a betting pool.
Yes,
that's the funny part too. Is they have a betting pool, and there's different locations throughout the world.
Right. There's like Japan.
And they're talking about Japan. There's a scene where they show like a Japanese ghost type character.
Yeah, like a Ringu type of.
Right, which was kind of funny.
Yeah.
And then the little girls like were able to stop it and turn it into like a frog.
Yeah.
And because they were able to defeat the ghost, that means now it's up to their location. They gotta appease these gods.
Right. They apparently do it like
Japan failed basically.
Yes, in 20 or so cities across the world every year, they do this as kind of a fail-safe. So if one location, all they got to do is do it once. And they said Japan has never failed, and all these locations are failing to do it. And then finally it comes down to the U.S. and the characters we meet here. And
so it starts off in a like they're college kids. Mm-hmm. There's some little hints dropped. So you first meet Dana, and the joke is that she's supposed to be the virgin, even though she's clearly not.
Right.
She clearly had an affair with the professor.
Yeah.
Do you think the professor was... Because I feel like this movie was edited down a bit. There might have been more story in this movie.
Oh, I could see that.
And that this professor... Because the thing, when you watch this movie, you realize, like, okay, why were these characters chosen?
Mm-hmm.
They're specifically chosen, and the thing is, they do something to the characters too. Because like Chris Hemsworth and the other character, Anna Hutchinson, who plays Jules.
Yes,
the Jules is the one that's depicted as a whore, but she's not. She's not. She's like, these two are supposed to be like smart college students.
Yeah,
but they do something to them. Like they set them up. This organization, they clearly planned. They didn't just get 5 kids out of nowhere and throw them in. They were like basically recruited. And the blonde, she wasn't blonde in the beginning of the movie. They even say it. She's like, she dyed her hair. You find out that they basically were able to give her hair dye, but it affected her brain and made her like a dumb blonde, basically.
Yeah. Well, and
no offense to dumb blonde,
right?
But you know what I'm talking about.
But they even amplify that. Like Amy Acker's character is from the chemistry department,
right? And she even says that she's like the hair dye, and then they like basically put out like these.
They pump chemicals,
and because the podhead like was so, I guess because he was smoking so much weed,
that
he was like able to like not be affected by the chemicals.
Well, it's weird. I've seen this movie, I don't know, half a dozen times probably. Like, I remember when it came out, I didn't really have any desire to see it, and then I read...
When I found out about it, or
exactly,
found out more about it, I was like, holy shit. It wasn't completely spoiled.
I read a complete spoiler review from, I think, the Ain't It Cool News website.
Ugh.
Right, but I think that's where I read it, and I was like, I've got to see this movie.
Yeah.
And I saw it, and I loved it. And then I saw it, I bet you I've seen it. I'll bet you this is the 5th or 6th time I've seen it. This is the first time I really realized that the, what's the guy's name? He's in a bunch of Joss Whedon movies, too. Fran Kranz, the guy who plays Marty.
Yeah, he's in
he was in Dollhouse.
Yeah, Dollhouse, yeah.
And he's really funny and he's really good. He was in something else too. But he smokes so much dope in this movie, or so much marijuana, that he's kind of immune to the chemicals.
Yeah.
And he also hears suggestions that are being pumped into the house. Right? Like,
yeah.
And I never really kind of picked up on that before. I thought he was just hearing voices or something. But he's kind of serves as the audience member explaining what's going on.
Right.
And it's a really kind of clever way.
Well, he's supposed to be the fool, But if you also go by like stories, the fool is also the one that's also fully aware.
Right, and the wise, that's
Even
true.
though they may act like a fool,
right,
they're the ones that could get away with it and say the honest truth.
Exactly,
because no one takes them like seriously.
Right, much like the role Flavor Flav played in Public Enemy.
Even though supposedly, I forgot. I remember there was like a story about it. And they said want to get rid of him, and like Chuck D's like he's like wrote all the music or something crazy like that.
I
like,
don't know.
No, it's true. No, he's he's like a freaking musical genius.
Well, Public Enemy's awesome.
But I'm saying Flavor Flav is like, it's like trashed as like, I mean, as if he's like a clown.
Right.
But supposedly he's like, can play every instrument.
Yeah.
Supposedly writes like all, like
I buy it.
Yeah. Right. So, and he says, yeah, boy.
Yeah, boy.
And and he also has that clock.
Yeah, he always knows what time it is.
Yeah. He also knows that 911 is a joke.
Right, yeah. That's a great track.
Yeah. So, like, you're introduced to the main character, and like I said, there's something up, and it's almost like and I feel like there's like a part of the story that was edited out, like this professor was probably recruiting her.
Yeah.
And worked with this organization.
I would not be surprised.
I almost thought it was Bradley Whitford for a second.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. But I don't think it was him. And then, that's when you meet Jules, and then you find out they're going to go away for the weekend.
To the cabin in the woods.
To the cabin in the woods, and Chris Hemsworth's there.
Yep.
And, I guess he's like a sociology major or something like that. And then he's like, this guy's coming along. What's his name?
Is that the...
Holden?
Yes.
Yeah, Holden's coming along.
He's the bookish one.
Yeah.
Yep.
But this is my theory, and I was telling Leah, my wife, about this. I said, like, I feel like he was in on it. Because, well, Leah said she thought maybe Chris Hemsworth's character was in on it because it was his uncle's cabin.
Yes, that is
Which doesn't make any sense because the cabin's totally rigged.
It's, they couldn't have just built that. I mean, the cabin was in a force field. It was
but the cabin itself was completely rigged.
Right,
and there was like sub basements to get into the.
And the facility headquarters were under it. You know
right.
what I mean? Like,
so, like, was Chris Hemsworth in on it? And,
well, why would he be in on it? Because he knew he would have to die. Like,
right.
Maybe his uncle was in on it. And like you have to sacrifice.
Again, there could be some holes in the story.
Well, yeah,
there's some holes in it. It's a little too too convenient.
Yeah, there is a lot of...
that's a big one right there. But I was like, I don't think... Yeah, like you said, he would have to die. It would make no sense.
Well, it was I think the running time was an hour 38, which is short.
It goes by fast enough that you forget.
Especially...
And the ending, the last 20 minutes is insane.
It's just so good.
The last 20 minutes is crazy.
Yeah.
Then you meet Holden... And then you meet what's his face shows up.
Marty. He's the stoner.
He's at a giant bomb, but it like transforms into like a coffee mug.
Yeah,
it's awesome.
And almost, like one of the very first things he says is society needs to crumble or something like that. He said if you rewatch it again, like
in the van when he's talking,
like literally like one of his first lines within the first like 5 minutes of meeting.
Typical stoner. Whatever.
But it's prescient because he kind of adheres to that viewpoint throughout the film.
The plot yeah. So they're heading to the cabin. The one thing they stop at, and this is where it's like things are a little weird, is that they're at like the gas station or whatever, and there's the guy there, and this guy is super bizarre. Right. And he's talking about the war, and they're like, what war are you talking about? That sounds like something generic from a movie. Like, this isn't normal. Right. Like, this seems like something from, like, a cheesy horror movie.
It totally is, yeah.
And this guy was clearly some crazy guy or someone who was in on it.
They call him the Harbinger, right? Yeah. That's his name in the movie. Like,
and he's like, you have enough gas to get there, right, enough to leave. And they're like, okay.
Well, that's one of the rules, is that they have to be warned and then ignore the warning.
Which is what they do.
Right.
And the joke... It's set up in a way, obviously, where the guy is not taken seriously because he's an old kook.
Right.
And, of course, they're young people who
they know better.
In the regular world or whatever, privileged, I would say, would look down on this guy. And they know that they would.
Right.
There wouldn't be anybody in the group like, no, we should listen to.
We should listen to our elders.
This is words of wisdom right here.
No, they charge through, and they.
That's funny. I didn't realize that's the joke, is that they have to, by ignoring it, they're accepting that to be sacrificed.
Yeah, there's all these little rules that they have to adhere to, just like in horror movies,
Yeah.
And then here's where you start to pick up, and you probably know a lot more of them than I do, but there's so many shots in this movie that are like references to other movies.
So when they go through like a tunnel or something
Yeah.
like that, and then basically at that point they're not in the real world anymore.
Right. They've crossed the threshold. And to me it reminded me of like the opening scene of The Shining, when you see the Torrance's car kind of going through and it looks a lot like that. And there's a lot of little shots in the movie where you're like, oh, this is like that other movie. And it's all
the cabin, you think of like Evil Dead.
Yeah, 100%. But you're right. There's the great scene where they go through the tunnel. They're no longer in the real world. They're in this kind of like, they're still in the real world, but they're not in the real world. And you see a hawk kind of flying, and then it like bounces off an invisible force field or something. Right? And so okay, it was really cool, because up until then, if you didn't know what was going on, it was like a super crazy moment.
Yeah.
Like, oh, this is kind of science fiction.
I'll have to rewatch that part.
Yeah.
So, like, they get there, and you think it's like a typical horror movie. Like, they go in, and, like, what's-her-face realize, well, the guy Holden.
Mm-hmm.
It's like all the horror movie tropes. It's like the jock, even though he's
Yep.
not really a jock, the Hemsworth and the other one, who's not really a slut, but they're starting to play those roles, so they fall in that.
Yeah.
And they're like a couple. And then Holden and Jules, it's like they're being set up, and he's like the smart one. She's the virgin one, even though she's not.
Right.
Didn't matter. She just fit enough to. That's what they cast her as.
Yeah.
Because she kind of looked like it, or in their mind, even though she was far from it, or something.
Well, even in the end, I can't remember if it's the director or if it's one of the others. They're like, well, we work with what we got. Like,
yeah, they say that. They do say that. I think Sigourney Weaver says that.
Yeah, right. She shows up as the director.
Yeah. So, like, she notices, or he notices, like, she starts getting undressed, and he's like, the mirrors are see-through.
Yeah.
But the other side doesn't see it, and then vice versa. She sees it, and he's like, listen, I'm not a creep.
Right,
That's why I feel like there was more to the story. Like, I almost feel like this guy was in on it. Like, Holden was setting them up. Like, he was part of the organization. Because, like I said, early in the movie, Chris Hemsworth's character basically says, like, I literally just met this guy.
Right.
Like, but again, it's like a big hole that this is Chris. It would almost make sense if this was that guy's cabin they were going to, not Chris Hemsworth's cabin, because this is not a normal cabin. This is like a theme park. Like, you're in Disney World now. Like, this isn't just some cabin in the woods. This is like part of a military vessel or whatever.
It looks like a cabin, a normal kind of rustic cabin, but later in the movie,
they're also now in the Truman Show, basically.
Yeah, basically, right. I mean, there's like a huge subterranean office complex.
But that's
under
where
the
they
cabin.
are, and then you find out all kinds of other crazy shit later.
Right.
So it's like typical horror thing. They're partying. They're just having fun. Like I said,
playing Truth or Dare.
Playing Truth or Dare, but the two characters are like the guy Marty says later, like, they're not acting normal.
Right. He's like, that's not about the Chris Hemsworth character.
Like, he's like
a sociology major. He's not this
meathead douchebag, and she's not this slut.
But
you see that, like, supposedly he had some relationship or something with Jules as well, Marty.
Yeah. But they're pumping in, and I can't remember if you see it before or after the Truth or Dare game. They're pumping in chemicals into the house. And, like, some of them are libido reducers or libido increasers.
Yeah.
Some of them are, like...
well, they want everybody to play a specific role.
Yes.
So some, so that two will want to have sex right away.
Yes.
And, so each one falls in line into each story.
Yeah, and they make them very susceptible. And
the first thing they do is, I guess, the house is littered with artifacts that basically chooses their demise. They don't realize that. I think Dana realizes it later because there's like a Hellraiser pastiche character holding something.
The Hell Lord,
Hell Lord guy. instead of Pinhead, he's got like a buzzsaw in his head. It's Pinhead. But he's holding, like, instead of the box, it's a circle. But I guess in the cabin, she saw something like that.
Oh, yeah.
So if she started playing with that, they would have been killed or attacked by those Cenobite ripoff characters.
Well,
but they instead picked up the diary of the girl.
Well, there's that great scene when they're playing Truth or Dare, and Chris Hemsworth, the virgin girl, says, "I'm going to go with Truth," and
Chris Hemsworth was the virgin girl.
The virgin girl. What's her name?
Her name was Kristen Connolly.
Yeah, so Dana.
Not Chris Hemsworth. That's Thor.
No, but Dana says, "I'll take Truth," and Chris Hemsworth's like, "Of course you take Truth because you don't want to do a dare."
Yeah.
And then anyway, she's like, "Okay, I'll take Dare," and then the trapdoor flies open. To the basement, and they all march down there. And they all start picking up shit, immediately. Chris Hemsworth picks up a conch, and he's about to summon the merman.
Oh, that's funny.
And another girl picks up the puzzle box, like the what is that? The lament configuration or the
thing from Hellraiser.
Yeah. Another girl picks up that, and another girl picks up the creepy ballerina
the Sugar Plum Fairy, with the fucking leech face.
They all start picking up shit, and the stoner guy's like, "This is a bad idea. Everyone put the shit down." And the one girl starts reading the diary that calls the Redneck Torture Zombie family.
Is it the redhead? Is it Dana?
It's the virgin, yeah. And so, but like, there's this moment where like, it could be anything. It could be the merman. It could be this.
Well, you don't know that yet as the audience. You find out later.
That. But like,
you see all the scenarios that could have happened.
Yeah. But like, if you watch it a second time, it's one of those rare movies that really.
But again, it's a little crazy because again, why go through all that trouble? Why can't you just have the redneck zombies?
Right. Well, they got to choose. They have to willingly accept They have to.
It says that they have to will. Well, they have to. Like you said, they have to agree to be by ignoring the harbinger and going to the place they basically agreed to be sacrificed. But now they have to choose their fate.
You know, it's like being. I think it's like real similar to why the fuck did God put an apple tree in Eden? Right? Like, why would you do that? You know? And it's like this, like, God said, "Hey, don't eat the apple, but it's delicious." You know, and it's like...
Well, the snake came and tempted.
Right. But, like, in this version, or this story, then it has to be a similar thing. They have to be told not to do it.
Right.
But they're young and stupid, so they do it anyway. And then all these treasures are in front of them, and like, it's...
One of them is not good,
Right, these aren't yours, kids. Don't touch them. Don't put them down. You know, they don't belong to you.
Well, I mean, it's a normal... If you're in a thrift store, you start looking at stuff.
Yeah.
You know, that's what it was to them. It was like, oh, what the hell is this? Oh,
but
cool,
that's always what they have to transgress and transgress. And so that way, when they're punished, they take on the punishment for all of us. You know, it's like they're accepting... Like, we've all transgressed against the elder gods, but they'll let us live if we give them these 5... archetypes that represent us all.
Right.
So
and they tell a story.
Right.
So yeah, she reads that, and that's when the zombies start showing up.
Yeah, immediately they like bust out zombies. You can't see me because it's a podcast, but I just threw up my arm as if I were crawling out of the dirt. So
the first thing is, and they have these like crazy like things that snatch people, like bear traps on a chain or something. It was pretty cool. They like I said, the first thing is Chris Hemsworth and Jules, or I guess we'll say Kurt and Jules go have 80s horror sex. Yeah, up at the lake or something. Up at the lake, and that's when she gets killed. The best is like, I guess, well, she's killed. Does he escape or something? He escapes. They kill her. Yeah. And then he makes it back to the cabin. He gets hurt though, doesn't he? Yeah, he gets all bloodied up. He makes it back to the cabin. And then the zombies follow him. The zombies follow him. They throw her head back into the house. And then he's like, we got to stick together. And they all stick together. And one of the control men underneath is like, watch this. And he hits a little button. And some gas gets released into the cabin. And then Chris Hemsworth is like, Kurt is like, no, we should split up. You know? Right. And it's like the worst decision. And again, horror movie tropes. Like,
why the hell do people split up?
Right. And the stoner guy's like, no, we should stick. That was a better plan, sticking together. And then, but they all split up,
Yeah.
you know, and of course, like, crazy shit happens then. But, like, they go through that motion, you know.
Right. So then the next one that's killed is, the stoner guy gets attacked. And you think he gets killed.
Right.
And you see the blood. That's the first sign in the movie. Like when the horror character is killed, you start seeing blood get poured down and filled up into the statue. And as someone who's never seen the movie or heard about this movie, you're probably like, what the fuck is going on here? It's like some weird symbolic shit. We don't know what's going on here. But a sacrifice was made. The horror character, the outline is being filled with blood.
Yeah.
Now the next one is the fool.
But he discovers right before he's presumably killed. Remember, he knocks over the lamp and he discovers the camera.
Okay.
He's pulling, and he realizes, shit, like, this whole room is bugged, and he knows there's cameras everywhere. And then he's like, I'm on a reality TV show. And he almost, like, breathes a sigh of relief, like, none of this is real.
Right, so the zombies aren't really going to hurt him. Right. They just throw a head in.
And he backs up to the window, and a zombie grabs him, and you presume he's killed.
He gets hurt. He's obviously bleeding, and like, the blood's like halfway, but then there's like a little earthquake.
Yeah.
And then the next one is, so then like, Holden gets hurt, but he's not killed. And then, I don't know, they're trying to escape or something, but the road stops, and then like, Chris Hemsworth's like brilliant. Again, his character's like dumb now.
Right.
Get on a bike and imitate the scene from Grease 2 where he wants to jump the ravine or something. And he ends up just smashing into like whatever force field they have up.
Yeah. But all of this is happening pretty quickly and at a pretty good pace. And it's such a weird mix of like really effective horror and pretty funny
But why
comedy.
did he jump the bike? I don't even know.
Yeah, I don't know that.
That was weird.
That was weird.
So then that gets fulfilled. So that's another death.
Right.
So it's still kind of in order, even though technically they already fucked up because the fool's not dead.
Right.
And then obviously now we're following horror tropes. You think like, okay, so now Dana is with Holden,
the scholar,
and the scholar. This is how usually the horror movies end, but he ends up getting killed.
Yeah.
And that's when the fool, and I guess she's about to get killed.
Yeah.
And then
Marty
shows up and attacks like whatever, and he basically shows her like,
I found this passage.
Yeah, like this is not normal.
Right.
And then like they're like all of a sudden now in this room with like one of the zombies in the ground, like all like fucked up or something.
Yeah. Well, if I remember right, and I'm pretty sure about this, the rules were that the whore had to die first.
Yep.
And the virgin had to be the last one standing.
The virgin could either die or live depending on how the gods felt.
Right. Yeah, like
they were like, okay, and that's kind of like how some horror movies are. Sometimes they call it Final Girl.
Yeah.
That's usually what they do. They have Final Girl.
As long as she suffers,
right,
she doesn't necessarily have to die, although she could die.
Yeah, depending on what they feel like.
Right,
but she'll be the last one.
Yes,
and
right now all we got left are the virgin and
they have to die in specific order. So the virgin cannot. They have to make sure that she does not. The people downstairs, with what's his face, Richard Jenkins and Bradley Whitford, who are busy having bets with people and watching what's going on in Japan. Their other main job is to make sure that everybody dies in order. Yeah,
well, they have to protect the virgin. She can't die first.
Because then that's game over too.
Right, and so at this point, they realize the Marty, the fool, the stoner guy, he has an inkling of what's going on. He doesn't know the scope of it, but he's like,
he
something
knows that they're not in a cabin
right.
And they've entered some fucking weird thing.
Yeah, and the virgin is completely oblivious, but she's like, Marty seems to know what's going on. I'm going to follow him.
Yeah.
And they're going to go into the belly of the beast. They're going to go into this complex, and all of the agents or the soldiers or whatever they are underground are like mobilizing. And shit's gotten real because Japan failed.
Yep.
And you get the idea of...
Basically, they have told... This organization has told
sunup.
sun up, or these gods are like,
Yeah.
they're coming back.
And the world will end. You get the idea that the world will
Well,
end.
our world will end.
Yeah, right. We will end.
Yeah.
And they're given strict orders: shoot the fool, don't hurt the virgin.
Yeah.
And that's it.
But unfortunately, things get fucked up because, well, they discover this is one of the best scenes in the movie.
Yeah, yeah.
I guess they get confronted by a guard. The guard gets killed by the zombies, of course.
Yes, the zombie arm.
The zombie arm
finishes them off.
Yeah, and then they escape. But I guess they somehow end up in a room with like a weird room that ends up being like they're in like they think they're in an elevator.
Right.
Then, like, all of a sudden, like, a werewolf smashes against the glass. And they're like, oh, my God, what the fuck? And then, like, the next glass is then that guy shows up through the window is the Hellraiser character.
Right.
And that's when she sees he's holding the orb.
Yeah.
And she now realizes, like...
We chose
the zombie. And then they realize, that's when they see all the creatures. You see that underneath this vessel, there is just... these little like elevator rooms filled with different monsters from different like horror movies. You got like I love like the killer clown.
You got the clown.
The people that like look like they're from The Purge.
Yep. Yeah. They're called the dolls. Mm-hmm.
But there's like another movie too where people wear masks and they come and kill people.
Yeah, I think it's called
The
Strangers.
Something like that.
Yep.
Yeah. And then you got the Sugar Plum Fairy.
Oh, she's
you got
terrifying.
The bat. That thing is
the dragon bat.
That thing is monstrous.
Yep.
And you have the snake,
giant snake.
There were more that they got cut out. There was like a giant.
Yeah, I looked up their Wikipedia entry has them all, and they're really good.
There were some that got cut though.
Yeah. The Ku Klux Klan
was that in there?
Yeah, the Ku Klux Klan was a group of monsters.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
Good. Well,
yeah.
They are. Our apologies to the
to the fine people on both sides.
But you can go fuck yourself.
Did you ever see that movie, The Cube?
No, I heard of it.
Okay.
I would like to see it.
The first Cube was amazing, I thought.
Yeah.
And it was probably because
I know it's like people trapped in a thing, and basically any false move they make, they basically are.
I saw Cube 2 and Hypercube. They were fine.
Did you ever see Resident Evil 1?
Yes.
It was basically the Cube.
Yes. It really was.
Weird.
Well, the Cube was great, and you know what the coolest thing about the Cube was? Is that all the characters' names were prisons. There was like Leavenworth, they all had
names. It's like the same thing. It's like Saw.
Yes.
It's like these people are thrown into... There was another movie that came out recently I want to see. I forgot what it was called, but it was almost like The Cube, too, where people like, they wake up like in a hotel room and then they're like... Each room is like a different... and then they could get killed.
Well, the underground complex to me seemed like the Cube in the sense that they were these rotating series of boxes.
Well, they don't get... It's like, I guess this group has the capability of controlling one at a time. They can't control these things, like, if they all get out.
Yeah.
And, of course, because...
Of course, they have a button that lets them all out. Marty
is a chaos agent.
Yeah.
And so is Dana.
Right.
They basically let all the creatures out, so the whole place is completely annihilated by all the monsters.
Well, they're pinned down. The soldiers are coming in. They're going to kill them.
Well, that scene in the beginning when the doors first open up.
Oh, yeah.
And it's just the whole room's covered in blood.
Yeah.
They just get completely killed in like 2 seconds.
Well, it's a hilarious scene because like the soldiers are waiting and you hear kind of a rumbling. Then you hear the gentle ding of an elevator.
Yeah.
And then immediately out of both sides, they're in a hallway.
Yep.
4 on either side. You just see monsters launch themselves.
Yep.
And there's there's the dismemberment goblins.
Yep.
And there's like the giant snake and the dragon bat and all this.
Yeah, they just
killer robot. And there's
the killer robot. Yeah.
There's this scene where like one of the monsters like tears a dude in half, and there's just like blood squirting out. It's like so over the top.
And then like after that scene's over, is that when they show up, or is that when like the zombie girl with the one arm shows up?
Well, there's like the 8 beasts get released or whatever, and then so they're like pinned down, and then the dragon bat like bops a hole in the wall, and you see that creepy slow walking girl. Remember, and then those two escape. Marty and Dana escape, and then another group of troops come in to rescue the first group, and another group of monsters is released.
Yep.
And that's I forget.
That's
which,
when like all the stranger, the purge people, the clown,
right,
and all the other crazy characters show up.
And then separate from all these releasings of 8 at a time of like just bizarre monsters, you see Patience Buckner, the original torture zombie family, because she's still got a job to do. She's got to kill the fool.
Right.
You see her kind of wandering around, like looking, like with purpose, like I've got to find this dude I got to kill.
She's got a story arc.
Yeah, right? She's got a story arc, but also, only one arm.
She's from the book.
Yeah.
And so and then you hear like, that's when you first hear Sigourney Weaver's character basically saying to them like,
this must be very scary or something like that.
This must be scary, but you're part of a much bigger purpose. Like, we're sorry, but please understand that.
Well, yeah.
Like, she basically explains over the what do you call it?
The intercom system.
She basically telling them, like, you know, the full, like, basically everything. Like, the horror, like, everything, you'll die now and you might live, depending on the story, but... And, or the gods are going to come back. Yeah.
Well, and I didn't know Sigourney Weaver. That was one thing I wasn't spoiled. I didn't know Sigourney Weaver was in it. And you hear her voice, and you're like, I know that voice.
Yeah.
And then, but like, then it is Sigourney Weaver. She comes walking out eventually.
Well, there's that so they somehow wonder after. So basically, the Bradley Whitford character, like, makes these jokes about, like, a merman.
He keeps, and they even call Chris Hemsworth Aquaman in the beginning of the movie, and then he's the one who almost summons the merman.
Right.
And
that's funny.
He keeps waiting to see.
He's like, you never see a merman. And I guess the joke is that, like, which I think is weird, like, you work there when you've seen it, but I guess they don't, because these things are like monsters from hell or something like that. You don't see like, you're not gonna.
Right. You're not going to take them out and play with them.
Yeah, play with the merman.
Go get the merman. But you're right. He sees the merman coming and he's like, oh, really? Like,
yeah, because the thing is ridiculous looking too. It's like really goofy looking.
But it kills him like so gruesome. Initially he's like, you don't want to see the merman.
Spewing blood out of its blowhole. So Richard Jenkins like the only one that escapes, because then like Amy Acker gets there. I guess there was like a squid.
The Kraken.
She just taken by a giant tentacle.
Right.
Which is comical.
Yeah, that is funny.
The guard, there's like this one guy, Truman. He's like this guard.
He's like the everyman. It's his first day on the job.
Yeah, and he doesn't really understand 100% what the hell he's doing there. He's like, looks like he's probably in the military, and now he's doing this. And
he was killed by a group of scarecrow folk.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think he grenaded them or something. He killed them. Yeah.
He basically had a failsafe, which was blow up.
Yeah. Which not a bad one, right?
Yeah. But so Richard Jenkins, the only one that survives, but then he gets killed by. The fuck is he killed by? Is he killed by the zombie girl?
Patience or the werewolf.
Or maybe he's killed by. No, I don't remember where Richard Jenkins' character was killed by. But he's like about to talk. And then he ends up getting killed.
Yeah.
So that's when they end up like in the room now, the weird room with the
statues,
with the statues on the wall, with the engravings, with the blood in it. And that's when Sigourney Weaver shows up and is like
in person,
and she's basically explaining like, this guy's got a fucking like. So basically, it's not even about the two surviving. The plot of the movie is that like Marty has to die.
Yeah.
And she basically explains to them, listen, you could either die now.
Or in 10 minutes.
Or in 10 minutes, you're going to die.
Yeah.
Like, you either die and be a hero and, like...
Save everyone.
Or you, like... like, either way, you're dead. So it doesn't even fucking matter.
Well...
And I guess people have survival instincts. You don't know you're going to die 10 minutes from now. You might live. You don't know. So you're like, I'm not going to kill myself. No way.
Well, she gets Dana Dana pulls a gun, and Dana's going to shoot Marty.
Well, you see, like, she's probably going to do it, but then the werewolf comes in and attacks her.
Well, Dana gets out the gun, and
Sigourney Weaver starts beating the shit out of Marty.
Yeah.
I like that she had, like, gloves on, so you know she's a badass.
And then, but Patience Buckner kills Sigourney Weaver.
Right, the zombie girl.
Yeah.
Right.
And then they push Sigourney Weaver and the zombie girl into
that
ether.
abyss, that cliff that leads to
Yeah.
And that's when they're talking and...
Yeah, and she's like, Dana's like, I probably wouldn't have killed you. And Marty's like, okay, yeah, like...
But she's all fucked up from the werewolf.
Right. But they choose, like...
She's, like, dead anyway.
And that's where Marty kind of echoes his comment from the beginning of the movie. He's like, fuck it, let's start with something new. Let's
or something really old.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's true.
It's not like... he's a dick. The movie, like, I'm watching the movie, and I remember that, and I'm like, watching the movie, I'm like, you know... He ended the world. He ended the world. The stoner guy, like, ended the world. Like, the world, if he was pushing the cliff, if he died, or he's like, all right, I get it.
Yeah.
Whatever. Who knows? He might have, like, wounds from earlier that he may not even survive. It's like living off fucking adrenaline.
He had, like, given what they've just seen, that there are hundreds of monsters in there, each one of which...
And that's just one room.
Yeah.
They're aware now that's like the world has like different places. And...
Even the least powerful monster in there probably would have taken them out eventually.
If they survived, let's say that, they got to get out of there.
Right.
With those monsters.
Yeah. And like there's no, like the power grid is kind of faltering. And I mean like he's dead anyway.
Yeah.
Right? And he's like, fuck it. I'm going to watch it all burn. And then...
And they're like, I don't know, and you hear the rumbling, and then that giant fucking hand comes out of the ground.
Yeah.
Out of the cabin, like this massive, like, probably bigger than fucking Godzilla.
Right, it's immense.
And just smashes down the movie ends.
Yeah. And then they play, what song? Because it was a Nine Inch Nails song.
I don't remember.
Give Up. Remember the second album they had, not Wish, Burn. Anyway, it was a really great Nine Inch Nails song. It was off their second album. I think it was called Give Up or Gave Up or something like that.
You know what? I'm going to look it up and pull it up.
Yeah. It was really good. And then the credits roll, and that's kind of the end of the movie. And it's really, really good.
We just watched the last clip.
There's
a scene where Dana says to Marty, like, I don't think Kurt even had a cousin.
Yeah.
So they all were tricked into this. If that's the case, like, that's like everyone at least was manipulated. They were marked for some reason. That's why I feel like when you watch the movie, like when you see the professor in the beginning, like there's like a drawing of a professor and they're like, screw that guy or whatever.
Yeah.
But like I feel like they were all being marked and like the professor was obviously part of whatever group.
That sounds right. I read a decent amount about the movie.
Which is interesting because usually when we talk about these movies, I'll watch like stuff after just to like see like if I missed something or if there's like edit cutscenes or whatever. I didn't watch anything.
Here's what I did. I looked up the movie itself has a wiki. It's like the Cabin in the Woods wiki or something. It might be part of a Joss Whedon wiki or something like that.
Yeah.
And they listed all the monsters, and they were hypertexted, so you could click on the monster, and it would show you clips of the monster, and it would talk about the monster, and it would say this monster is a reference to like the Hellraiser monster, or this monster is a reference to Ringu or something like that, and then they showed because I guess there was a behind the scenes extra edition or something. Yeah. Anyway, so I thought that was really interesting. And the other thing I read I read two more things. The other thing I read was an article where it said basically we are the elder gods, and like back when we were originally watching horror movies, we were content with like a girl getting chucked in the volcano. Yeah. Like King Kong was fine. The girl gets picked up. That is enough titillation.
King Kong, the whole thing was they would give her a woman and King Kong, which was really bizarre because like never understood like was King Kong gonna have sex with this lady.
But we as
or
audience
usually
members,
chuck the lady.
yeah,
Like it was never good enough. And then when they finally, King Kong's kind of a racist movie.
yeah, oh yeah.
Fay Ray shows up, and then King Kong's like, "Ooh, what is this?"
Right.
And
Well, we as audience members were content with just a woman being put in peril. And then as time went on, the elder gods, us the audience,
I know it's like
wanted more and more. Now we demand like Saw,
Yeah.
and Hostel. And
we want more story.
yes,
And everything had there's a little more depth, and everyone trying to play a role, but at the same time, we're still watching the same thing over and over.
The last interesting thing I read is they kept making a reference to 1998, right? And there is
1998.
like in the opening scene, the people were like, well, the last time we had a failure here was in 98. There's a glitch in the system. And a couple times they referenced 1998.
Do they have to do this every year?
Yeah. So
Wow.
every year, there's like a 20 or so cities, and they all perform this ritual, and some of them succeed and some of them fail. All that needs to happen is one needs to succeed.
Yeah.
And this year, they had all failed, and they were like, well, Japan never
Which
failed.
is insane because I'm like, Okay, so the monsters are so insanely deadly in this area. And I just love the little girls with just the Japanese ghosts. Like, it's so funny. Like the Ringu.
Well, they all have different monsters.
Frog and the guy, I think it's Bradley Whitford's like, fuck you! Fuck you! The little girls on the camera. It's like the funniest scene.
Well, they got to do it every year. And this is the year it came down to the Americans. And I could see, like, look, all sorts of things could happen. People could go down to the basement, look at all that creepy shit and say, fuck this, let's go back upstairs and smoke a joint, and so, like...
Yeah, then it's a fail right there.
It's a fail, right? Or if one of the 5 bails, hey, we're going to the cabin in the woods, and the fool is like, I'm going to stay, there's a new... Netflix just released something I'm going to watch, like...
pre-Netflix. Netflix was around, but not like the way we...
Right.
Okay.
But, like, anything could make it fail. So
right.
they needed to have, like, 20 or so iterations of this. Some redundancy in the system. But this time it didn't, right? So, anyway, 98, like, what happened in 98? And there's, like, a bunch of theories. And some people say that this is it was a reference to... when the original Ring came out, the Japanese movie. And that's like when Japanese horror became very popular.
It's like, what was the big horror movie here? Like horror as a whole in the 90s was dying down. And Scream came out. Scream was like a meta on horror movies.
Right. The 3 theories are, 1, 98 was when J-horror got real big. 2, there were no good horror movies in America in 98. It was a year in which no horror movies came out and did well.
I guess not. Yeah, I'm trying to think of any. 98, because I think the Scream franchise was pretty much dead at that point.
Right.
Like, Scream 2 was like, I think Scream 1 was like 95, Scream 2 was 97, and I think like Scream 3 didn't do very well.
Well, that theory makes the most sense to me, because if it was a dead year for horror... that would mean that if we kind of look at a meta view of it, like we are the elder ones looking for, that would be a year we weren't appeased.
That's interesting.
And the third theory was, I guess there was a horror movie that came out in 98, and it was The Faculty. And that was it was a unique horror movie in that none of the kids died.
Okay.
Right? Like all the 5 archetypes.
Yeah.
I thought The Faculty was great.
I don't remember it.
It was Invasion of the Body Snatchers.
Yeah, I remember it. It had what's-his-face from Dawson's Creek in it.
Oh, yeah. Was it Vanderbeek or Pacey?
It was Pacey.
The guy from Fringe. Joshua Jackson. Yeah. I loved The Faculty. I thought it was really good. But The Faculty had those archetypes in it, but none of them died. And that would have been a glitch, So those were the 3 things I read.
Man, how'd they... appease the gods in 98 then?
I don't know. Well, Japan at the last... That would have...
Oh, that's also, the joke. It's Japan, because they had the Japanese horror.
Right.
So they're the ones that succeeded.
Yes.
Okay, that's funny.
But this is one of those movies that is... like, almost every line in the movie is important in some way.
Right.
Right? And there's so much to see. And if you love horror movies, then there's so many Easter eggs. There's so many little
Oh
things.
yeah, no, I mean,
Yeah.
like I said, the more I watch it, at first I was like, there's a lot of holes, but like I said, the fact that even like in the end when she says like, did Kurt even have a cousin?
Yeah.
And then now it makes total sense that like they were all being groomed into being manipulated. Obviously, Kurt was convinced that this cabin was his
uncles or cousins or something.
Suggestion, and it's like, no, you don't have a cousin. You don't have that. You're like being fooled. But that's why I always thought like the holding guy. And I was trying to say, like, I feel like this movie might have been like either a little longer or edited out some scenes. I do feel like, and I could be wrong, that the holding guy was in on it or aware because, like I said, or maybe again they're all being suggested, like the powers that be, like the holding guy, so they manipulate him into being introduced to Kurt, and then
I could see that.
So he's not aware either.
I think
because again, like you said, why would that means that you have to die? Like,
he wouldn't willingly go along with it. That doesn't make any sense.
Well, he's like in a cult or something. Like
well, I think I read, I can't recall for certain, but that like Whedon and Goddard wrote this basically over like a week.
I mean, it's one of those, like, it's a great idea. It's not that intense. And I could see it being written in over a week.
Yeah.
But it's not bad. It doesn't.
No.
I'm not saying that as an insult.
The story is super basic. There's not much to it. That doesn't mean it's a bad thing.
The twist is insane.
Yeah. And the dialogue is like really good, I think.
Everything, I think, like, you have to, like, if you watch this in a glance, it's like a horror movie. It's like with some like meta things and references, but if you pay attention to it, you realize the movie is actually pretty well written. Yeah, and like you said, like the characters do everything the characters say is pretty important. Yeah. Throughout the movie, everything is part of the plot. It's plot-driven dialogue. You just don't realize it
exactly,
and you have to be paying attention. It's like everything that the people in the facility are saying to each other. Like, okay. So, a couple of questions.
Yeah.
The gods make sense.
Right.
Kind of.
Sure.
To a point.
If
that's
a thing, then sure.
Where the fuck are these monsters coming from?
Yeah.
Are they, like, generated in a lab?
I read on the wiki that they were, like, the pets of the Elder Gods.
But the Elder Gods have, like...
But there's no evidence.
Characters and the clan. And
there's no evidence in the movie to suggest that.
It doesn't make any sense.
No. That is really bizarre because
that's where you gotta like just let go of
everything roll
at that point because it's like the movie's trying to be like all these things and make all the references and like I like though that everything it references all these movies, but it's almost like everything is an even more fucked up version.
Yeah,
right. Like that vampire bat that's like just crazy. It's super adrenaline, very fat. Right. Like that's like times like everything's like kind of like on steroids.
Yeah.
Like,
well, it's almost like a haunted house, where you go like I don't know. I haven't been to a haunted house recently, but like I used to go to haunted houses, and it would be like a room with like evil doctors operating on a living patient. And then you go to the next room and it would be like an alien. And you'd go to a next room and it would be like a werewolf. Yeah. And in the next room it would be
what's his name? Something Pumpkins.
Oh, yeah.
David Pumpkins.
Right?
I'm David.
David S. Pumpkins.
David Pumpkins.
But like
David S. What's the S stand for? My son made me watch that so many times this past Halloween.
It was so good.
And I just love like the elevator.
Yeah.
Like they see David Pumpkins and then there's like another thing.
Right.
And David Pumpkins again. You're like, why is this happening again? And like
then he's like, it's 100 floors.
Again, I'll be winners. But then the next one is what's her name? Jones?
Oh yeah,
she's like, she's got a chance. She's like, I'm crazy.
Leslie Jones
for David Pumpkins. Like they show up again. It's the best skit ever.
Yeah. Well, it's
so stupid.
It's kind of like that. Like
David Pumpkins would be in this.
That would
movie.
Be. Yeah.
But it would have to come out now.
But none of them were like thematically similar. But you're right; they were all like more fucked
it's
up
all
versions.
it's all horror movies. It's like everything you could think of. The only thing I noticed that they didn't have in it really was like a Freddy character. Maybe I wasn't paying attention.
Yeah,
but they had. It was mostly like all generics. But the fact that but again, it's like, where the fuck are these coming from? That doesn't make any sense. And the fact that the gods are like specifically horror genre fans. They're like this, like they're just nerds down there,
right?
I really liked what John Carpenter did in this. Is that so, Lord Basil Flarv?
Basil Flarv.
And for Ruga Labadaba.
Well, they were like generic-ish. It is really kind of funny.
That in the end, the hand that comes out.
Yeah.
It's just like a hand.
Yeah, it's just a dude's hand.
It's like. It's not like it's a
claw, like a
big giant claw.
Yeah.
It was like a hand.
I don't know this for a fact, but again I'm referencing the wiki page. They said there was a novelization of this, which makes sense. I mean, they make novelizations,
Sure.
But they said they gave an excerpt of the novelization, and I guess like I'll post a picture on our Instagram as we're kind of leading up to this. One of the best images was the whiteboard with all the monsters on it and everything. Yeah. But like some of them were really funny. There was one where it was like, you got zombies, vampires, like giant squid, this, that. And then one of them was just like Kevin. Like that was one of the monsters.
Is that the clown?
No,
the clown was awesome.
Kevin didn't, the clown was awesome. Kevin didn't appear in the film, but in the novelization he appeared, and he was a random dude that was just a serial killer.
Oh.
And he was posing as one of the
guards
posing
as
in the facility. So when all the monsters got released, he was just one of the people wandering around pretending to be scared of the monsters, but he was really one of the monsters killing some of the other facility. I guess the novelization got pretty intense with like the monster
again, that's just to me is like the one part, and it's like it's fine. It serves a purpose. I don't need to have it explained where the fuck these monsters come up. But no, really, I get like the facility being made. Mm-hmm. I get like that there's gods.
Sure.
Like it all makes sense. But specific horror genres, references that we all love and enjoy from like a good 40 to 50 years of monster movies. Where the fuck are they coming from?
But it's like the first 2/3 of the movie are basically like an Evil Dead, Texas Chainsaw.
Right, it's like a bunch. It's like two different movies.
Yeah.
It's like the first half is like it's a Evil Dead type movie with zombies. It's kind of generic. It kind of happens pretty quick, so there's something up.
Right, because it's the plot is resolving. The kids are dropping dead too quickly,
but they're also They're dropping dead, but they're also able to defeat the zombies pretty easily too.
But then you get to the underground facility, and it's basically like all the good parts of all the movies. Like
what?
It's basically like all the good parts of all the movies.
The movie gets better.
Well, it's like, wouldn't it be awesome to see a dragon bat and zombies and an alien and a robot creature? Wouldn't it be awesome to see all of them fight soldiers? That's what happens.
Yeah.
It's really fun to watch.
Oh, no, it's that, like I said, the last 30 minutes of the movie is like insane. It's like it's what makes the movie amazing. Yeah. I'm just like, okay, in this world that we live in, we like the merman, they have to capture it. The purge people,
they're in these little boxes. What do they eat? Like, do they stay in
the
little boxes?
Living? Are they actually alive? These things, like they're like I know it's like stupid. Like we're like,
no, but the mechanics. Is
this a magical xylophone? I mean, like it's like shut up and enjoy the movie. But no, we're like I feel like maybe again we paused for a second. Joseph's magical editing. You won't notice the difference, but we're trying to figure out like if there are any theories where these monsters come from. We talked, like you said earlier, like they're the pets of the, that's stupid. That doesn't make any sense. The only thing I could say is like, are they generated by like these
3D
organizations?
printer.
3D printer, or generated by they're lab made by these organizations, but at the same time, wouldn't you, if you were to generate, let's say the lab that works with this group made them, you would probably put fail safes.
You would think.
The monsters are programmed to only attack the people that they're supposed to attack.
Well,
and they would not attack anyone in the facility. Like they're they would be like well-trained dogs or something.
Did you ever watch Buffy, the series Buffy?
Yeah.
Do you remember season 4, The Initiative with Riley? Remember, it was like I loved the season, but a lot of people didn't like it. Was that the one with
the college?
Yes.
She went to college and you found out Riley was part of... Like, she started dating this guy. He's this post-Angel. He's already now on his own show, so we need a new love interest for her. And Riley comes in, and he's part of this... Like, she goes to college, and you're introduced to these people, and it's like an organization,
Yeah, and it's basically this, which makes sense, because Whedon was involved in both, obviously. And the initiative was capturing these and studying them in a way to like figure out how to beat evil, right? And I guess like if I'm going to speculate, I would say that this team of people holding the elder gods at bay have collected monsters in an effort to figure out like what makes things tick or whatever. But it's all just random. I mean,
if you go too
unexplainable.
Far it's unexplainable. Like, why would there be a purge characters? Why would there be Japanese ghosts?
Yes.
Like, why would there be a killer clown? Like, how would a killer clown be a pet of an elder god?
Right. I thought it was,
I could see the
dragon
monster.
Sure.
Yeah, like something like that.
Well, I thought it was cool in that, like, in the American facility, a lot of the monsters were uniquely American. Like the killer clown and, like, some of the Ku Klux Klan, uniquely American.
Yeah, it's uniquely American.
And there's a few others that were, like, those are American archetypes. And the Japanese facility had clearly a Japanese.
But there was what we know from Japanese horror.
Well, they showed on the monitors. If you look if you pause it and look on the monitors, you can see like the South American facility had like some sort of giant. Right. So like I thought it was kind of like cool in that like if we extend that metaphor again, we are the elder gods, kind of watching horror movies. That each place on Earth demands a different thing.
But
in a
these
horror
things
movie.
are also like programmed too because they don't attack the monsters. Basically all work together. They don't attack each other at all. It's like their main job is just kill every human that gets in front of them.
Kill all humans.
Kill all humans. And what did you say? Teamwork.
Teamwork makes the dream work. Yeah, right. Well, you're right because they do like.
Now I'm freaked out about Kevin.
Yeah, Kevin.
That's scary. Kevin's the most scariest character in the whole movie now. But like, it's an awesome movie.
It's great.
If you're a horror fan, you'll definitely like. I don't know. It's like weird. I could see some horror fans hating this movie for some reason.
I guess so.
I guess in only good times or something.
To me, I consider myself a not a hardcore horror movie. I guess I'm like a casual horror movie
kinds
fan.
Of movies, so I don't know.
I could see a hardcore horror movie snob. I don't mean that in a bad way, but like someone who their thing is horror movies.
Yeah.
I could see maybe them saying that this movie got a few things wrong or painted it with a broad brush. But man, I loved this movie.
Yeah, it's fun.
It's
a fun movie. At first, I was like, "Oh, can my kid watch it?" But then I realized like that. It's so bloody.
It is.
Especially that scene with the elevator where they just decimate every soldier and it's just like
it's very bloody. And the reason I wouldn't let my kid... I mean, I wouldn't let my kid... My kid's more... I don't know the right word for it. She isn't great with scary movies to begin with. But like this movie is pretty nihilistic. And I think that's the thing I would have...
The whole plot, too.
Right.
And you have the main guy who's like, yeah, fuck it, who cares?
Yeah, so I don't know. I think the only trouble... Like, let's say...
the guy who destroyed the universe.
Yeah. If your kid's, like, cool with horror and blood, maybe they're fine with it. But, like, the ending is pretty bleak. And that's what I would have a hard time talking to my kid about. Is, like... that part. So,
Well, the elder gods, they it's their time again.
Yeah.
And, go back to bed.
Right.
Go to bed, kids. Don't worry. Don't think about Kevin.
Don't think about the Fnords.
Don't worry. What?
The Fnords.
No. Don't worry about Kevin. He's not going to come to you.
Yeah.
Unless you watch that video.
Woof. Kevin's certainly not the janitor at your school. No reason to think that. No reason.
Don't worry about it.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's it. I mean, this was. It's weird because this movie is so dense and so packed, but there's really not much to talk about. The movie. It's a great one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's fun. I highly recommend it. Like I said, if you got Prime, it's on there. I'm sure you can find it somewhere else, or you could go buy it.
Yeah.
Maybe you already have it in your collection. I have no idea. I don't know who you are.
Right.
I never met you.
You know what I'll say, and I guess I'll
Not
leave
you.
it.
I'm talking about you.
This will be the last thing I say, and we'll wrap it up. It reminded me, this is a kind of a weird analogy, of like an Ant-Man or a Guardians of the Galaxy, in that, yes, it's absolutely a genre film. It's like a horror movie, just like Ant-Man is a superhero movie, and Guardians is a superhero movie or a science fiction movie. But it's real accessible to non-genre fans.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I'll bet you someone who hates horror movies would really like this too, because it kind of pokes fun at the
generic horror movie, or what we know as horror movie.
Yeah.
Like I said, the idea of, but don't they even make a joke about like stories? Don't they make a comment about the fight, like why would the gods need to have 5 characters?
Yeah, I think so.
But don't they not like? Do they make a jab about? I think in the facility, like they're talking about like the 7 archetypes and 20 and 34 scenarios or something like that. Like that, basically everything we watch. At the end of the day, you could say something's original or not.
Right, but there's only 7 stories.
There's only 7 stories with like 34 scenarios or something like that, and something like that. I'm sure we're butchering it.
Right, but no, your point is well made. Yeah,
and
that's it.
We watch the same shit all the time.
Yeah, right.
So you got to come in with a twist, and this movie had a twist.
It did.
It did. No, that's the thing. That's what makes this movie memorable.
Yeah,
it's, and then the way it ends is fucking brutal.
Yeah.
So,
and it's still. I mean, I know it's only 8 years old, but it feels. It feels
pretty
brand
good.
new.
It still holds up. Like, and like, it doesn't feel like you're watching a movie that's basically 10 years old.
Yeah, a little CGI, not
that's
as
fine.
sharp.
You know, when I watch a horror movie, I don't expect Avengers level horror.
Right.
I mean CGI. I don't expect like that.
Right.
I will say it does a good job in that. Like, I don't know how much of the blood is fake. I'm sure there's a mix of CGI blood and squibs. As they call it. They do it. From what I watch, everything happens very fast.
Yes.
But the fake blood, it holds up pretty good for like CGI.
Right. Well, and it's a ridiculous amount of blood, so you almost forgive it being. That's a lot of blood.
What's something else I was gonna say about it? I don't know.
Yeah.
So, what do you think the sequel's gonna be about?
Well,
remember you said that last week? We were talking about. Brought it up, and he said like, "Oh, it'd be great if there was a sequel." I'm like, "You sure there would be a sequel? I don't think there'd be a sequel."
Well, I could see it. I mean, I could see like.
What if the sequel is you're watching The Cabin in the Woods again, right? Mm-hmm. You find out in the end of the movie that now this is the gods. But they're the humans now.
Right.
Now they gotta feed the other gods.
Yes. And at the very end, a very tiny hand comes up out of it.
A tiny hand comes out of the ground. It's
well,
Baby Yoda.
No, I was saying, like, you could imagine it like, okay, sequel, the hand comes up, but then you realize, oh, the Japanese thing didn't really fail, or something like that. You know, like, you could make a sequel out of anything.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. But
you're not gonna make a sequel.
No,
I don't want to make a sequel. But what was that like? Men in Black. I always like the ending of Men in Black.
Which the original?
The first one.
What was the ending?
Well, the ending just showed you because like the whole plot of the movie was like there was a marble or something like that, and like they said that like. I think the cat or whatever, like the bug was trying to get this marble, but the marble was a universe.
Yeah.
Inside the marble, and Will Smith's like, "What the fuck?" or something.
Right.
And Tommy Jones is like trying to explain it to him, And then at the end of the movie, it was revealed, like, it zooms out, it leaves our planet, it zooms out, and then it's revealed, like, we're a fucking mortal,
Yes.
too. It's
Yeah.
like, you don't...
It's
just one tiny thing in the middle of it.
like an Escher painting type
That's
of deal.
why I said,
yeah.
like, Cabin in the Woods is like the sequel of the movie is it's the same plot, kind of.
Yeah.
And you think you're watching the humans, but they drop little hints.
That would be
These
funny.
are like
Right.
gods.
Yeah,
They're
yeah.
not gods. They're just, it's just, so they gotta feed, a tiny hand comes out. And really tiny. It's like a very unimpactful
Yeah.
ending. It's just like a little hand goes, like,
Like, you know, like
Okay.
the elder god's cat accidentally like swipes it.
Yeah.
Like,
do you remember like that? I was like speaking of Ant-Man, I was like one of the best gags they do in the movie is when they show them small
well,
and they're about to get hit by something and I think it's like a huge impact,
Yeah.
and then they zoom out to like our size and
Right.
it's just like
yeah.
like when he's fighting like Yellow Jack in the end and like the Thomas Train's coming
Yeah,
by,
yeah.
and like then it zooms out to like our size and it's just like to him he feels like it's a train
Yeah.
coming. That's what the little
that's
hand
funny.
would do, would just be like this.
Right. Roll credits. All right.
All right, yeah.
So next week,
I have no idea.
well, do you want to do a Super Tuesday?
Well, that's a separate thing anyway.
Yeah, all right.
Let's just leave that out. We don't.
All right.
We
Well, we'll
this
figure
is
it
an
out.
apolitical episode. We threw in the. Sorry, we insulted the Klan.
Yeah,
in this episode.
right.
We didn't mean to get political. Jeez, you know, I don't want to offend such a. You know, you don't want to offend that audience.
The fine people on both sides.
Just fine people on both sides.
All right.
Just kidding.
All right. Well, then that's that.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'm Rob Israel.
I'm Joseph K.
And you still go on about
that.
Thank you for listening to You Still Going On About That. Please like, comment, share, and if you haven't done already, please follow us on Instagram, YSGoat, Facebook, YSGoat, and Twitter, YSGoat. Thank you, and have a great day.